Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope everyone out there is doing great, that you're all doing fantastic, and that you're all having a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. There's a brand new video about cryptocurrency news and happenings and other crazy things every 24 hours. Very big thank you to everyone who leaves a comment every single video. It helps out the algorithm a lot. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Things are getting intense. I don't know. I don't know if you've noticed, or maybe you've just tried to ignore it. It's not that I didn't expect this to continue, but it seems like behind the scenes, there's maybe a feud or something intense is just happening that the public maybe isn't simply aware of. I mean, even within the actual cryptocurrency space, we have, as a community, moved from this interesting's the right, that's the appropriate word. This interesting level of Bitcoin accumulation that seemingly came out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere, one day to the next. Hundreds of companies are talking about how they now love Bitcoin and it's the future. The after effect of that seemingly has been that we keep hearing daily about companies who are announcing that Ethereum is now like the new thing to focus on and how much they love it. The original Bitcoin buyers were buying $500,000 and 1.8 million US dollars and things like that. And then out of nowhere, that those numbers kind of bumped up to 50 million, 70 million. Remember MetaPlanet? Yeah. MetaPlanet used to buy like $800,000, $200,000 worth of Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden they started talking in the billions. Well, guess what, buddy boy? Now the same thing is happening for altcoins. And there's like one in particular that seems to have given a brand new hope, if you will, to the cryptocurrency market, in that these people are buying up Ether so aggressively that a lot of the analysts are now predicting. I mean, we already had these predictions before, but now it's more intense. And they're literally talking about a 5-figure Ether, I mean, in the very near future. And it's mainly because these very wealthy individuals are buying up so much Ether that it's literally having a strong effect on the actual market. So get ready for some more intense news, because it just doesn't ever slow down. It says Ethereum's institutional adoption is accelerating, understatement, as companies such as Sharp, Link Gaming, I'll get into that one second, and BitMine Immersion build multi-billion-dollar ETH treasuries. So oddly enough, and I mean sanely enough, a lot of the companies, to be fair, who announced that they were going to start buying Bitcoin were also hotel companies and bakeries and mattress. Like, really, it sounds fake, but no, they're actually they kind of did a strong pivot. So in the same vein, if you will, the Ethereum companies, Sharp, Link Gaming, yeah, that sounds like a gaming company. BitMine, you know what they did before? They were mining Bitcoin. So these companies, they have interesting names and they were doing things before, but apparently, collectively, at the same timely, they all came to the exact same conclusion that now's the time to buy up every single Ether that's left on exchanges. I know, kind of weird. Joseph Lubin. Joseph Lubin is one of the co-creators of Ethereum, and I assume he's heading this company. I'm not really sure. It says Joe Lubin leads Ethereum's corporate integration, while Vitalik Buterin focuses on technical upgrades, shaping a new era for Ethereum and finance. That's also been part of the new narrative. Apparently, you might remember this was like February or March. Vitalik Buterin, that he announced that he would be stepping away a bit from the project. He would no longer be the face, because apparently everyone had an issue with him breathing heavily, and people were like, the price fell today because you breathe. And it's like, okay. So he announced that he would kind of take a Jack Dorsey approach, where Jack Dorsey has more or less, he said to us, dedicated his life to like making Bitcoin like the thing that everyone uses on the planet. And Vitalik Buterin basically said, I'm going to step back. I'm still going to be involved, but I'm going to make sure that it runs faster and better. And it appears that Joseph Lubin is kind of like the new face of all of it, if you will. In May, Ethereum co-founder and Consensus CEO Joe Lubin quietly took the reins as chairman of SharpLink Gaming, a NASDAQ-listed company that pivoted from sports. What? That's crazy. With a name like gaming, who would have known? To building an Ethereum-focused treasury. I feel like you can change the name. I'm not being rude. I hope not. But I feel like it's definitely appropriate. It can be like SharpLink ETH, or like Ethereum Link, or Ethereum Sharp, or Sharp Ether. The gaming is, at first glance, it seemed like a niche shift. No, it didn't, because Joseph Lubin really loves Ether. He believes in the thing that he created. And this niche what? Like, what are you talking about? Like Joseph Lubin becoming the new head of a company who announced that they were going to be buying every single ETH on the planet, you know. It says, but now the bigger picture is becoming clear. Ethereum is entering a new institutional chapter, and Joseph Lubin is at the forefront. Speaking with Bloomberg, Lubin said, the long-awaited moment for Ethereum has arrived. This is supposed to be like all we've been seeing the last 6-7 weeks is apparently meant to be the starting point for hundreds of new companies to also begin announcing that they're buying up tons of Ether. This is, I would prefer normal people buy Ether, but alas, Ethereum has kind of taken a back seat in the focal point of the public. The public does prefer Bitcoin, XRP, Cardano, and Solana. That's just a fact. You see how like people rally around these coins in their community. Ethereum has more or less kind of become like an entity within the space that moves things, similar to like Binance Coin. People don't care about Binance Coin as much as they do Bitcoin, Cardano, or Solana, but it's like a corporationally loved coin. Corporations love Binance and Binance Coin. Corporations and banks love Ethereum. So this is what I think it's kind of becoming. But there's also a new narrative as like Ether becoming money. And I'm like, I'm not sure you're quite there, but I think we're also not that far off. For years, it says, Bitcoin dominated the narrative as a digital store of value, while Ethereum was viewed as a platform with potential. And to be fair, that's also the way that they marketed themselves. The original idea for Ether was to be a world computer. That was like literally, it was this idea in 2015 that by 2020, the world would be using Ethereum like a new computer. They would have websites and apps and all these other things, and you wouldn't be reliant on Windows or Mac or iPhones anymore. This was the idea, but it was also heavily contingent on the idea of them having 1 million transactions per second. That's where that number comes back in. So Ethereum just kind of became a platform where you could grow stuff on top of. You could put this here, you could so-and-so. It's the most used blockchain. That kind of became it. But now we're getting this other idea of Ether being like money. And I don't even think that Bitcoin is currently what we would consider money. I think when Bitcoin goes to several $1 million US dollars per coin equivalent, and our movements per day, we're still moving by 1 or 2%, but it's like by a couple $1,000s. It's not really shaking the boat anymore. That's when it kind of becomes this thing. I think Ether we would need a $2-3 million Ether, but this is also where they assume it's going. It says, but now, thanks to staking, programmability, and growing regulatory clarity, Ethereum is becoming a critical part of the real-world financial strategy. That's also very true. That's what happens when you lobby the right people and you have the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, and it consists of mega world banks who have announced that they were going to throw their weight behind Ether. This is what you get. So I think Ether as a form of money is like, meh. I think people will, when Ether is like 20, 30, 40, 50,000, people will take chunks of it and they'll use it to down payments or cars, or they'll use it to Uber, what have you. But the other part of Ethereum, the system, is becoming this idea of like stablecoin usage and like everyone building their companies and things on top of these chains. This is what all the energy is about. He says institutions are no longer just exploring Ethereum. They're integrating it. Lubin emphasized that Ethereum offers more than just value storage. It's an engine for programmable finance and decentralized infrastructure. This is a very long article. It kind of keeps going on. I think you get the hint. It's this kind of idea. Also, somewhere in the article, and maybe I can find it quickly or something like that. No. Long story short, Joseph Lubin at some point also mentions that like this company that he's running, that's like Ethereum. So not the Ethereum Foundation, but this new, we want a treasury Ethereum company is basically, he says he wants them to accumulate and own more Ethereum than any other project ever could. So I assume the other company we heard about recently who has 500,000 ETH, I assume this new one is, you get the idea. This, what a weird shift we're seeing in all of this, where Ethereum is kind of being touted no longer as just a new kid on the block. It's more like, this is the future of money. This is this. Cool. Awesome. I don't think that anything is wrong with Ether. It's just more of I think the project will really begin to finally kick off when they have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 transactions per second. 60,000, for those of you who don't know, being the number that Visa and MasterCard can do per second. It's 60,000 transactions per second. That's always been the number that these crypto companies have wanted. I think nothing's wrong with Ether. It's just slower than other projects with the amount of weight that it has on its back. Once it's able to handle 60,000 transactions per second, you can't really say anything negative about it. Everything else has kind of worked. If they get us to 500,000 transactions per second, and I mean that can even be across layer 1 and layer 2s, Ethereum is here to stay forever. So yeah, more and more companies keep popping up talking about hyper Ethereum accumulation and its place in the financial world. So cool. Get us those 60,000 transactions per second and no one will be able to say anything about it. Yeah. That's the everyday Ether news because it keeps popping up every 24 hours. People are obsessed with this chain now. And yeah, let's move on. Also what? That's insane. So apparently MicroStrategy, it took them a while. Look at them. MicroStrategy is back in the news for those of you not looking at the screen. It says MicroStrategy has dramatically increased its latest preferred stock sale, targeting a Bitcoin purchase of $2 billion US, up from their initial $500 million, citing a person familiar with the matter. MicroStrategy has a... If this was the first time they were doing this, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But they do this all the time. They announced that they're trying to raise $200 million. And then we hear in the news that they actually rose $700 million. And everyone goes, but how? So they announced recently, but they do this all the time, that they're trying to raise $500 million, which is like, what? I would love to be able to be like, hey guys, I need a small $500 million. I'm going to buy some BTC. And then like, okay, cool, we got the money, that kind of thing. But their purchasing power also always raises up into the billions now. Their goal, as far as we are to understand, is that they want they want all the Bitcoin, not some of the Bitcoin they announced before. They want all of it. But B, it looks like their current line in the sand is 1 million Bitcoin. So they're not that far off. And with these constant $1 billion raisings, they're going to get there. And once again, we do not have to dive deep into any kind of news story about MicroStrategy. This seems to be their spiel. This is what they do. This is who they are. They want billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. They're going to get it. There are other companies who are trying to, jog alongside them. So BlackRock is number one, MicroStrategy is number two, and it's probably always going to be that way unless some other company comes out of the woodworks and we find out something dramatically new. BlackRock, I think the last we heard from them, they passed by 700,000 Bitcoin, and MicroStrategy is in the 600,000 something or other. So must be nice. Yeah. Cool. MicroStrategy's back in the news. It feels like it's been a while. We haven't heard from them, but that's just because they're always just buying Bitcoin in the background. I think that's going to do it for this video, everyone. I hope that you've enjoyed. I hope that you're all doing well. I hope you're all remembering to take care of yourself. I hope you're all having a great day. Hope you're all remembering to drink water. Hope you're remembering to do something nice for yourself every single day. I don't care what it is, as long as you are happy and smiling at the end of it. It will help your mental state a lot, believe me. I'm buying Pokemon cards all the time. It's great. No, it's like actually fantastic. It's like, it's wonderful. Do something that makes you happy. I do hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, something, liking, and watching, and something in the video. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.